Hi, Brittni. Welcome to Revitalize Womanhood, the podcast. It's so fun to have you here. I'm so happy to be able to sit and chat with you and see your beautiful face and not just through Instagram messages.
I know. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yes, we've just been having such a good conversation. I think this is honestly every single podcast I've recorded could start this way with, okay, let me just hurry and push record, because I am seriously so feels like you're the same way, where I'm just like, I want to get to know you. I want to just chat. Let's just be new friends. And then I'm like, wait a minute, we should have just been recording this whole time.
I know, we're like, this is so good. This is so good.
Oh my gosh, you almost had me in tears. I'm like, we got to hit record. Just hit it. Just like pull Joe Rogan and just hit record and just go.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, would you please introduce yourself? You have so many. Brittni this hat, Brittni this hat, Brittni wearing this hat. Please just give me your introduction to my listeners, and then we will jump right in.
Yes, I always joke that I'm a time management ninja because I have a million things going on at once. But so my name is Brittni Schroeder, and I am a business and marketing coach for entrepreneurs. And I basically help entrepreneurs build systems and automations and funnels and just help them streamline their business and get organized so that they can work less and make money while they're not working. So that is kind of my jam. That's where my main focus is. I also have a nonprofit that I founded in 2017 called the Compassion Club. So that is my passion project. And then I have a couple podcasts, and I have a lot. I juggle a lot of things. So
you wear a lot of hats, like so many women out there.
Oh, yeah.
Now tell me the names just real quick, and we'll get them in here, and we'll pop them in the show notes as well. But what are the names of your podcasts?
So I have Redefine Your Business podcast. That's my business one. And then I'm getting ready to launch another one. I've been batching, and I'm a big plan ahead, but it's called Grieving with Grace is my other podcast. So
I can't wait for that.
It should be, I have a couple episodes recorded. I just need to do it, just pull the trigger and schedule them and get them up. So, but yeah,
do it. I'm going to harass you every day from now until it happens. I'm going to harass you. I'm going to be like, do it.
Yes.
Do it.
Yes.
I'm excited. I'm so excited for that one. Just hearing you just start talking about it, I was like, I can't even. My mama heart just broke for your mama heart, but we'll get into that. So you're like, okay, ladies, I had Jancy record, and I was so excited about it. So many of my women in my community heard me talking about this. We were all so excited for this episode with Jancy and all about how to organize our lives.
Fabulous.
And she is fabulous. And it got into actually perfectly going from habits, which was our monthly topic when we recorded, into parenting, which was our next monthly topic. I mean, it was the perfect episode.
She's golden. She is golden. Everybody needs a Jancy in their life.
We have to record again. It got locked in here. It won't come out. It won't spew it out. Her computer was having some meltdown.
Oh, no.
And it wouldn't let it upload. And so I'm like,
oh, that's the worst.
So sad. So now I just get to go and hang out with her again, and we get to record again. We'll just have to talk about some other new stuff. But so I don't even know that she told us about each other. Somehow we came together. You thought it was because she told me something about you, but honestly, maybe she told me about you, but I just started deep diving into your Instagram one night while I was just laying there, and I'm like, I love this. And I actually started sending a lot of your posts to my assistant. I'm like, Mandy this, Mandy this, Mandy this. And she was probably like, okay, I can just go to this woman's Instagram. You can stop just sending me things.
I love it.
You are 100%, building systems and automations. That is, I need you in my life. I need you in my life because you've heard what my schedule is about to look like.
Oh, yeah.
And it is not here in the office. It's going to be 3 days in this city in this country, 3 days in this city in this country, 3 days in this city in this country. And all the while, once a week, I get to record some podcast episodes. And
you need automations and systems. You need all that so you can enjoy yourself and everything's still running while you're not working.
So tell me this, as a business and marketing coach for entrepreneurs, I want to know how you would imagine your client comes to you, your new client, but instead of, actually, we're going to do both of these because I do want to hear the entrepreneur side of this.
Okay.
What are your first 3 top tips that you're going to tell when this client comes to you and like me? So, well, let's use me as an example, okay? I'm kind of just learning as I go. I've got this here, that here. My time management, like you said, you're a time management ninja. Mine's like all over the place. I'm more of a multitasker, but nothing gets done.
Yeah.
I've been telling my community I'm going to come up with a handbook for the last 5 months. So for your client comes to you. Now we're going to take this first as specifically entrepreneur, female. Let's focus on her. What are your top 3? Let's just hot tips. Get these lined out for you.
Okay, this is easy. It's hard just to stop at 3, but the first thing that you have to do is, because what happens as entrepreneurs is we have this great idea. It's either a product or a service. It's great. We know that it works because, people have used the service or we've done something. People are happy. We have satisfied customers, right? So I always say that businesses fail for 2 reasons. Either they can't grow fast enough or they grow too fast and they lose their integrity. And so it's kind of tricky because I think a lot of times we come from a place of scarcity. And so we are just like, whatever. And we're just kind of like, it's messy, but we're working our way through it. But so that's why it's important to have systems and automations, because as you grow and scale, you don't want to lose the integrity of your business. And at first you can manage everything because you might not have a lot of business. But you'll see as you start to do more and more, it gets a little harder. You start forgetting stuff. I don't know if you guys are like me, but I have to have everything written down in a million different places or I will forget. So we have to have those systems and automations. But backing up even before that, I think a lot of entrepreneurs, their default is social media. Like, I need to get on social media. That's where everybody's at. So I need to get on there. And I need to grow my social media. That's how I need to reach people. That's how I need to sell my product, that is a good tool, but the best tool and probably one of the most neglected tools that people do not focus on is growing their email list.
I was just going to say that.
Were you going to guess?
Yes.
I should have had you guess first to see what I was going to say, to see if I was predictable.
Glad. That's where I'm at. Let's go. Let's hear it.
So I see this all the time where a lot of people, they grow these huge social media followings, but now we see the algorithms changed. And now we're like, oh my gosh, I went from 10,000 people seeing my story to 100, or nobody's seeing my post, and just like so frustrated with that. And so I'm gonna tell you guys a story. I was a photographer for 15 years. I didn't mention that, and I owned a photography magazine. And I started this magazine with a friend, business partner. And this ages me, but this was right when Facebook was like just starting. And so we did this page and we had this Instagram and we had massive growth with our Facebook page, with our Instagram. So we're like, oh my gosh, this is so awesome. So we released our first issue of the magazine, and we sell a ton. And I'm like super analytical and, I think numbers. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm doing the math. I'm like, okay, with a 10% growth every month, like we're going to make this much money. Well, right around that same time, Facebook changes and it goes from everybody seeing your business page to nobody sees your business page, only your personal page. And our sales plummeted. And I don't think we ever really recovered from it because we had all of our eggs in one carton. Like we were like just dependent on social media to reach our people. So you have to grow your email list. Like I said, I'm a numbers person. I can put out a piece of content on my social media and I have a decent following. And I am lucky if I get 2 to 5% of my followers to see my stuff. That's how unpredictable it is right now. The average open rate of an email is 30 to 50%. Mine is close to 50%. So do the math. If I have 10,000 followers and say 5% of people are seeing my stuff, that's 500 people. If I have 10,000 email subscribers, I am having 5,000 people are seeing my stuff. There's just a higher conversion. We own it, so we have more control over it. If social media went away tomorrow, which it could, and it has for some people, would you be able to get a hold of your audience? Would you be able to sell to them? And so growing your email list is the very first thing that you want to do. And, but after that, it's like, then what? Okay, you grow. That's where I come in. I teach how to grow the email list, but then I also am like, but you also have to have funnels. And these are automated funnels that are, somebody signs up for your freebie or training, and then you're nurturing them. You're like positioning yourself as an expert. You're just building that know, like, and trust factor. And then at some point, they are going to convert to like clients or to sales. And so the very first thing that I always tell people to do is create something, a lead magnet, and that can be a freebie, a coupon code, a training, an ebook, whatever. Create something and then have that be like, lead with that. Make it a priority that you're going to talk about that and grow your email list. Get your email subscriber. I mean, your social media subscribers, get them on your email list. Talk about your freebie in your stories, in your post, and convert them. If you're like, did social media first, so you're like, crap, I need them over there. It's not too late. Start trying to convert them over to your email list by talking about your freebies and getting people on your email list. So that's my very first, probably my first tip. The second one, gosh, let me see where to start. Oh, I'll tell you, people where I see entrepreneurs struggling is they are not clear on their messaging. They're not clear on their branding message and their statement. So I have clients and they're posting but I don't know what they do. They're not clear on what they do. And I always say, especially if they have big social media followings, I'm like, okay, are you an influencer or do you have a business here? Because you look like you're an influencer because you're just giving information away, but you have to tell people how to work with you and walk them to the next step. So get really clear on your messaging. And I see this so much where people they're just not clear on their messaging. So what do you do? So I always say, what is the transformation that you are trying, or the problem you're trying to solve? Lead with that. This is what I do. Here's some pain points and this is how you do it. So their messaging is the second one, which I also too have a lot of I give people a break too, because our business are constantly evolving. Right. And my business does not look anything like it looked a year ago or 2 years ago or 3 years ago. We're constantly changing. And the more we do, the more we're like, okay, I like this, but I love this. I'm going to go this direction. Our businesses are always pivoting and changing, but just whatever you're in right now, try to get really clear on your messaging and what you do. Niching down I know people resist niching down because they feel like, I say niche because you'll appreciate this because you're a traveler, because someday I might live in France. And if I live in France, definitely I need to say niche and not niche. Don't you think?
Yes. Don't you think, I never know. I'm all niche, notch, whatever.
Niche.
This is who we are.
Yes.
But my thing with that was actually the easiest part for me. It was the easiest. I talked to myself.
Yeah.
I am my audience. Everything that I am, that's who because I am my first project. You know what I mean? What I'm talking about for myself, what I want to learn. And that's how I've actually picked my monthly topics for my community. It's like, oh, this month, what am I feeling like I need a little be better at? Oh, habits, atomic habits. What do I need to be better at? Boundaries. So maybe be a lighthouse, not a tugboat. I pull for myself. Yeah. And it does. It resonates because I'm not unique. It's a woman problem. These are women problems. And so I talk to myself. So that was actually my easiest.
Is niching down and understanding who you're talking to.
But be super clear about your messaging, that has been so hard for me because I am the travel mama from Pure Imperfection turned podcast host, community grower on Revitalized Womanhood. And the two are separate, but now my worlds are colliding. Starting Sunday, my worlds are, I am the same person. But that's okay.
Because that's okay though, because that is your personal brand. And I think it's okay when your personal brand is intertwined with your business brand, because I think it builds a connection with people.
Genuinity.
Yes. And we want, it is our brand. Even with me, I love fashion. I love house stuff. My audience is interested in that stuff as much as they're interested in SEO or email list blowing, because, and it's true, a lot of times your ideal client is very similar to you. And a part of like even positioning yourself as an expert is you have to position yourself as an expert, but you also have to have empathy for people. And so my ideal client is similar to me, but similar to me like 10 years ago. My ideal client is me 10 years ago before I had all this knowledge. I'm the one that was like, oh, spending 3 hours trying to figure out how to change a font on a website. That was me, like feeling overwhelmed with technology. That was me. And now, so I have empathy. Like, I get it. It is so frustrating. Technology is so hard. I get it. I understand. And I teach that way and I coach that way where I'm like, hey, this is how you do it. I'm going to break it down into like bite-sized little pieces because I don't want you to feel overwhelmed. So I think it's a combination, but knowing your audience, I think with messaging, where a lot of entrepreneurs get it wrong, is they think that it needs to sound so eloquent and sophisticated.
No.
And it's
you got to
just
talk
like,
to the dum-dums.
Yeah.
Like this,
and it's just
right
like,
here.
Yeah. So this is probably my best example that I get. I coach a lot of life coaches and mindset. And there's a lot of weight loss coaches and they've learned these tools and they know that it's not about losing weight. They know that it is about getting good in your head and being in a place where you have like, you know, like positive self-image and all those things. So we know that, right? But I always tell them, and so they want to get away from the word diet and the word losing weight. And I get that. But at the end of the day, your ideal audience doesn't know exactly what they need. They know what they want. They don't know what they need. And so you have to sell them on how to lose 5 pounds.
Right.
You have to sell them on that. And so I think that is where the messaging gets kind of like mixed up, is we feel like that we need to like sell them something really, really fancy and we need to sound really smart and stuff, when it's like, no, like, what do they want? And what are they Googling? That needs to be like in your messaging. So I think getting clear on your messaging is like, you have to be able to speak to your audience. The other day I was working with a client, and this is like a newer client, and we were looking at his website, and he is like, he's a doctor, but it's fitness. And he was talking about that they want to get, I think he called his thing Thrive. It was like something. And I'm just like, okay, I understand you're trying to get them to thrive, but what does that mean? You know, because I think feel like we need to come up with something super catchy. But I'm like, I still have no idea what you do. I can see you're a doctor, but I don't, and I can see you're into fitness, but like, I honestly have like no idea what you do. And so we just have to remember to just be very, very, like, dumb it down and like, what do you do? And that should be the like lead in your branding statement is, this is the transformation. This is what I do. And this is how I do it. And this is who I am. So I think that is one. Okay, let's think third one. I think branding is finding like your brand is really important. That kind of goes with messaging and stuff, but like trying to figure out who you are and stay true to who you are. I think that was, okay, probably my third one. If we're talking like business things in your business, so we did email, we did your messaging. Probably the third one is the systems and automations, is learning how to set those up, because what it does is it frees up so much time, and that's how you are going to build wealth. Or, I mean, Kate, you have two options, and we kind of touched on this, Gina, where it's like, you know, I hear people say all the time, like, oh, I only work 20 hours. I only work 20 hours a week or something. And I'm making
what
like
does
all
that
this
mean?
money. And I was like, who are these unicorns? Like, but because and I think our business, there's no such thing as balance.
Yeah.
So I think even for me, I was like, I'm going to hit 6 figures. I'm going to hit 6 figures. Then I hit 6 figures, and then I wanted more. I wanted what's next. So could I work less? Yeah, I could. I could work less if I wanted to. What do I want more? Do I want to work less, or do I want to keep going? And I'm at a season in my life because I have one kid at home. She's 15. She's in school all the time. I backed off, I'm backing off. It's summer. So we are like living it up. But once she starts in school, like I have all day long, like I am going to devote my time to this. When I had 3 kids at home, and, my life was totally different. I wasn't working that many hours. I was making great money, but I chose to prioritize being a mom because my kids needed me more. I wanted to volunteer in the schools. I wanted to be more active, So I think it's just, but those are the things, is systems and automation. So you can have systems and automations, and you have the choice. You can have those that give you more time to do whatever you want. And that might be to be a mom, or you can have systems and automations so that you can make more money. But either way, the systems and automations in your business they're a game changer. They will change the way that you run your business, because a lot of your stuff can be automated and have systems, and you can scale. So
give me some examples of, without giving any of your big secrets away that are your
I have
unique.
no secrets, Gina.
Yay,
I'm an open
I
book.
love that. Good. I love that.
I share everything.
Okay, so when people say systems and automations, like, I know I've been to retreats, I've been to business, retreats and things, but specifically, give me an example of what setting up a system would look like.
Yeah. So I'll give you a couple. I'll give you a few. So if you do one-on-one coaching, if you do any like one-on-one service, it can be, you're a photographer, it can be coaching, it can be anything. If you do that, there is an onboarding, so say that I do a consult or whatever. And then the next thing I need to do is send them, okay, you want to sign up. Here's my contract. Here is the payment link, right? So we send them that email. Then we have all this, we want to create a good experience for them. And so a lot of times we have to educate them, or we have to check in with them, all these things. We can automate that. So here's an automation that I will set up for my clients. You can go into Gmail and set up templates. And you set those up so I can write an email out that says, I'm excited to work with you. And then I can customize it. So that is, and I always say minutes add up to hours. So even though you're like, oh, it doesn't take me long, I just throw together an email. It doesn't take me long, but minutes add up to hours. So the more templates and automations you can create, you're going to have so much more time. So I will have an email, I put it in there. Then I attach my welcome packet that just talks about working with me. At the bottom, it's pay here. They pay that link. It automatically sends them to a series of emails. And so the first email is, hey, fill out this intake form. They fill out the intake form. Then it might be a couple hours later or the next day. And it's like, hey, this is what to expect. And then the next email, okay, schedule your first call. Okay, and then I space it out. So when I work together with somebody, I do either 3 to 6 months is usually where we usually start. Then I have another email that is just checking in with them. Even though I check in with them every week, it's still creating that client experience. And I never want my clients to feel like, oh, she got my money and now she doesn't care. So then I have these automated emails that are just, hey, I just want to check in. You're doing awesome, blah, blah, blah. Just adding those in there, that different kind of just checking in and giving them attention. And then it's time. So it'll be around 3 months, and then I'll say, hey, I've loved working with you. Hey, let me know if you want to do another 3 months. You can click here. So I'm upselling. So I'm avoiding those kind of and it's another thing with automation. Sometimes we have to have these uncomfortable, talks or conversations with people. And when they're automated, you don't even think about it because they're already sending out. And money is one of those where people don't like to talk about it. So then that email goes out, and then I have another one that is like, hey, I've loved working with you. If you had a great experience, I would love a review. And I'm asking for testimonials. So I've created this entire workflow that all I do is send them an email. That's all that I do. And it's really like pressing a button, and I send that to them. And I'm getting all their information. Then if I want to go and send them a welcome gift, another part of the automation is they fill out a form, and it auto populates into a database, and it puts in the date. So I know exactly when we start, when we end. I have their address in there. I have all their information in one place, their goals, and I'm just more organized, and I have that information in there. And so that is that's an example of one automation. I'll give you, because you're a podcaster, I'll tell you my podcasting one. I've created a link. I send them a link. It's a scheduling app. They schedule something, and automation goes out, and I personalize it so it doesn't look generic, but it's in my voice where I'm like, oh my gosh, I talk like a Valley girl, but it's my voice. And I'm I'm so excited. This is kind of how it will go. Okay, when you get a sec, please, will you fill out this form? I ask them for their headshot, their bio, their links. It automatically takes that information and it puts it in a database for me. Then my scheduling app, I've set it up so it sends them a reminder 24 hours before, and just hey, it's coming up. And then, hey, if you haven't already got me your information, please get it for me. If you have, just ignore this. I'm obnoxious, whatever. And then they get a reminder like the day of. Then the next thing, it's a fault. Then all that information goes into a database. Then I record it. I send the Dropbox link to the guy that edits my podcast. He edits it, sends it back. I place it in the database. I've created an automation that all I have to do is once I put that in there, I change the status to ready to be scheduled. It sends an email to my VA that puts it on my website and puts it on out on iTunes. She does all that for me. And then it sends another email to I have another VA and she creates graphics, said, hey, this podcast is ready to go. Go ahead and start promoting. This is when it goes live, blah, blah, blah. And I do that. So all I'm doing is these little systems and I'm communicating to my team, but I'm just setting up all these like automations. So that's another example. I mean, I could go on and on. There's like so many.
I'm always
amazing.
Like, well, and honestly, that's what I've heard in so many times, repetitive, that is absolutely in the top 3. You're right, because just people usually, especially think about your new business, like me, I hear this a lot. We're so busy running around trying to put out all the little fires or, plug the little holes in the boat, all these things that we're like, I don't have time to create a system. I don't have time. And you feel like that you really don't. Yeah. I'm not going to say that you do, but you don't. But if you do stop everything else and take the time to create that system, it's going to plug those holes for you. It's going to put out those fires for you. So if you can just allocate, which this is me saying it, and I don't do it very well because Mandy's asked me to record so many things and I'm like, okay, I'll do it. Okay, I'll do it. She's probably listening to this going, you're horrible, Gina.
She's like, that. You need that. You need that, Gina.
She's just sitting here writing all these notes down right now. She's probably like, okay, and then we do this.
Yeah.
No, but I get it. It's one of those things that's like, just do it.
Yeah.
Just do it.
Well, and I was going to say too, this is what I see with entrepreneurs too, is like we start our business, we get really overwhelmed, and then we say, I need to hire a VA. Mm-hmm. But then you hire a VA and you have to manage them. So it's like honestly giving you one more task to do. And when you create these systems and SOPs, which are standard operating procedures, and that's basically like, it's like a checklist or like a workflow of this is what needs to be done in this order. When you create those, then it's like, then you can hire a VA and she can do like those tasks. I have a VA and she's kind of my social media VA. I do my own content on Instagram because I'm a control freak and I love like aesthetics and stuff. Mm-hmm. But she repurposes that stuff for me. So her SOP, her standing operating procedures are Monday, go in and repurpose an old blog post. Repurpose I do tons of tutorials on my Instagram, share this in my story again, put it on LinkedIn, put it in my newsletter, send it out here, put it on my Facebook group. And so what happens is we create all this content, and once you have those systems in place and you have programs and you've built like a business and a product suite, now you just have to market, and that's how you scale. And so it's easy if you have this out where, I mean, honestly, my VA that is like so awesome, she is not creating content for me. She is repurposing all the content that I have, but she is getting me out there. And so when you have these, I'm very detailed. So it's like Monday. So kind of my SOP for my VA is I always have at the first of the month, this is what I'm promoting in August or in September, whatever. And I'll tell her like if I have a training coming up or a launch, and I will put the copy, the link, a graphic. Okay, promote this. And then I'll put on Monday, I'll put promote current offer in X, Y, and Z. Tuesday, promote here, Wednesday, promote here. But then it's also like, do this on LinkedIn, do this on Instagram, do this. And so she is marketing all of my stuff. I'm just telling her what to do. And so she's intentional and she's marketing. And so it makes it easier because depending on like who you hire or what they specialize in. But a lot of times when people hire these VAs, they are just doing tasks that they tell them to do, like, hey, answer my emails or schedule this or send this, but they aren't going to market for you unless you tell them that you want them to market for you and how to do it.
Right.
Because
they're not mind readers.
Well, and honestly, if they were these genius marketers and they took the initiative, they would have their own business.
Right.
They choose not to. They would rather do something where they're helping somebody else, because not everybody has that, like, the confidence or even the desire to be a business owner, but they enjoy doing something.
Right.
So you can't expect them to market for you. You have to like guide them. You have to teach them, tell them what to do. So.
Unfortunately, I've found that even with marketing companies, it's like, why do I have you? Why am I hiring you if I have to babysit you?
I have to tell you what to do. Yeah.
Yeah. You've just added more work to my plate where you're supposed to be taking away. And you may find that you're going to go through. That is also another entrepreneur growth learning curve is people are human.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They're only as good as
you get what you pay for.
I paid a lot, but even then people they have a way of thinking their way, right?
Yeah,
and it's not your way of thinking.
Yeah.
So even though one person might think, oh, I love doing Instagram, I love making things aesthetically pleasing and beautiful, but my version of what my Instagram should look like, I've had this is experience talking. And then I see the things that they start doing, I'm like, no.
You're like, that is not what I envisioned.
Me. No, that's horrible. Like,
yeah.
So
for sure.
You do have to get through those to find the ones that will work, right? You have to.
For sure.
That's like in any business. My husband, he's like, man, employees, and he's in the not social media and online and anything, he's in the physical construction, whatever. And he's like, that is, man, employees, they're employees. Right. They are what they are. And
well, and I think it goes back to even a VA is like, you have to set the expectations. You have to guide people. You have to have boundaries. You do that. And it's easier to have expectations and boundaries and guidelines up front and then become a friend and then create a friendly relationship with them. It's easy to do it that way. But if you do it the reverse, it's really hard to be friends with them first and then say, oh, no, wait, these are my expectations. So respect first, and then, understanding, and then you can build like a friendship. I love to spoil like my contractors, my assistants. I love to spoil them, but I do not I set expectations. I tell them what I want, and then I reward them when they do like a good job. So I think that definitely you have to but that's kind of on you to lead them.
You just nailed it right there, because you have to know what you want. You have to know, you have to be able to communicate your vision, because that I think is even harder. I think people have, again, me, this guy right here, you go into it and you hire someone to create you a logo and they're like, what do you want? And you're like, I kind of like this. I kind of like that. I kind of like, and they're like,
It's hard.
It is too hard. You have to know what you want and you have to be able to communicate it. And so, yes, I am learning the hard knocks of being, it feels unnatural for women, I think, to be upfront and direct and blunt, because it does feel like you're going to be called a bitch or, you're
totally.
a hag or whatever. But it's like, no, I would much rather someone tell me exactly what they expect of me. That doesn't offend me. This is a job. Yeah. I'm your employee. Yes, please tell me what you expect of me, because otherwise it's like wishy-washy. I kind of don't know. Just help me here and there. And then it's like they do something wrong and it's blah. Why did you do that wrong?
And you honestly can't complain if they didn't know.
No, you
know
can't
what I mean?
complain. So,
yeah.
I never complain about anything. Ask Mandy. I never. You did so good. Good job. Keep doing it.
I love it.
Oh my heck. Well, those were so amazing. I loved all of that. I gobbled it up. Now, let's switch gears and talk these top 3 branding, marketing, coaching for individuals, women. The woman, not the entrepreneur, the woman. And actually, I don't want to skip ahead, but you kind of nailed it on one of these, was for systems and automations, was figuring out what's important to you. How you said, is it more time or is it more money? Is it less, you need to be working less time, or you whatever. And that is 100% what I think with individuals, women, And so where do we start the top 3 if your client comes into you and you kind of just erase the fact that she's an entrepreneur?
Yeah.
She's a woman.
Okay.
Living a life. Okay, let's go to top 3. How do we be a success in life?
Okay. Oh, I know these ones. Okay. So I'm going to say the first one I'm going to go with is time management. That's going to be the first thing.
Thank you.
And I'm going to give you the tip. This is a game changer. I'm telling you, like, learn this, practice this, make it a habit, and teach your kids, because it is such a huge game changer. And that is scheduling your day the night before. And I have a planner that I love, and I get it. What's it called? The Perfectly Planned Planner or something like that. I can't remember. I'll send you the link. But I've seen similar ones at like Target. But basically what it is you plan out your day. So I'm like a planner. So I have a planner that's like a desk planner. I have like a great big huge calendar, like a desk calendar. I have my year planned out, like up on the wall, and then I have my phone. So that's us, And so I will pull up my phone because everything is synced. When I schedule things, they're all synced, or I put them in my phone. So the night before, I pull out my planner and I write in all the things that I have scheduled. Okay, I have this at 9, this at 10, this at 11, whatever. Then the next thing I do is I give myself 3 main goals. And these are things in my business that are going to move the needle in my business the most, right? And those can be, so say I'll give you an example of something on my list. I'm launching a email funnel builders course, and I'm launching at the end of August. And so I know that when you're launching, if you've ever launched, like, it is a bazillion emails, like literally it's like 20, 30 emails that you have to write. I've been planning this. And I know I'm going to do it because I've written out that I'm going to do it at this time. I plan that the first of the year or first of the quarter or whatever. So I put on my one main goal is write 1 email. And I'm doing this, like, I'm a planner. I do it in advance. But so I have been writing emails like since July. I have been writing an email, and I'm like, write 1 email a day. And I write the email, I'm done, it's scheduled, automated, whatever. So that's going to help me because that's my launch. I don't want to be stressed. I don't want to be overwhelmed. I don't want to cram. I don't want to do any of those things. So that can be a main goal. Another goal is I have a training that I'm doing. I have like a life coach certification. I'm their business coach, and I do these trainings. I know it's coming up. Again, I want to do a good job. I don't want to wait till last minute. So I might even though this training might take me a couple hours to put together, I'm not going to do this training. I'm going to work on this training for 30 minutes. I set my timer and I'm really big into time blocking. And especially if you have a project that's really big, break it up into either intervals of time or like sections, like write 1 email. Because what happens is, as entrepreneurs, as women, we go all day long. And then say that we were working on a presentation all day long. At the end of the day, we feel deflated and we're like, I did not get anything done. Even though we were working all day, we didn't do it. And so why to do it this way is, and this is like a simple pleasure, and I know every woman loves this, there's nothing better than checking things off your checklist. I'm sorry. I think we can all agree on that.
You are speaking my language, 1000%. Yes.
It is like, it's so good. So anyway, so then you do that. And so what happens is you see, like, I'm checking things off. Like things are happening, right? So we do that, and we do that with 3 main goals, and we're realistic. And like, I'll give you an example. Even on Mondays is my content creation day, and I plan content Monday through Thursday. And I put on there 1 hour content creation. That is one of my main goals. And I do that every Monday. So I think it also helps if you have designated days. Like my Mondays are my content creation, Tuesday's podcast day, 1 hour. That's all I spend is 1 hour. Wednesday is blog, where I write a blog. I'm back to blogging. Thank you, blogging AI. And then Thursday, I think, is like Pinterest. And then Friday is like, I do podcasts or I work on my nonprofit or whatever it is. And so I have these different things. But then back to planning your day, you pick those 3 main goals, whatever they are. I do like time blocking. Then you write your to-do list. And on those to-do lists, those things are important, but they're not as important. because what we do with our mind is we don't like to feel uncomfortable. And so have you ever been like, I'm sure you can relate to this, like, I have to pack, I have to pack, I have to pack. I'm in the process of moving. So I'm like, I have to pack, I have to pack. I will do anything else besides pack because I don't want to pack.
It's daunting.
Or we're going on a vacation and we're like, oh, I need to clean out a junk drawer. You know what I mean? Because it's like, we put it off because it makes us uncomfortable. We have to think, I don't know, it's like, so we do that with our business too, is we put off the things that are uncomfortable to us, but in all reality, those are the things that are going to help our business grow the most. So then you do like your to-do list. You do not touch your to-do list until your 3 main goals are accomplished, because we'll gravitate towards that to-do list, right? But write those things down. And I write everything down. Like I've been trying to learn Spanish. It's been on my New Year's resolution for probably 15 years, but I really am doing it this year. But I will write like practice Spanish for 10 minutes. It's on my to-do list. Like writing those things down, like it makes me feel good at the end of the day when I'm like, oh my gosh, like look how much I got done in this day. Okay. So that is my first one, is just getting good with time management. And even if you are balancing a business and your kids, make it a priority. If you have if building a relationship with your child is a priority and it's so important to you, put that as one of your main goals. Like I'm going to go and do this. Don't, we always say the 2 excuses is I don't have time, I don't have money. And that is not true. It's not a priority to you, because if it's important, you'll find time, you'll find money. Yes. So find what things make things a priority in your life. Okay. So time management is a game changer.
And before you go to 2, I want to just quickly point out, ladies, are you hearing the common thread through here? Small bites. You don't sit down and eat the whole elephant. You take small bites. She's saying, do 30 minutes on this, do 20 minutes on this, do 10 minutes on this. It's not like sitting down and having to create an entire production. Yeah. It's not me having to sit down and pack for 5 months of travel.
Yeah.
Which it is.
For sure.
I have left it till the end. But yeah, it's if you want to feel that way, because we all know what that feels like when you put it off and put it off and put it off, and then all of a sudden it's like,
Well, and I feel like some people, like I innately am more analytical, and I am a planner and I'm an organizer, and sometimes people aren't. Sometimes, especially people who are more creative, they're really not like planners. My best friend is a photographer, and like it drives me crazy because she just flies by the seat of her pants, and I'm like, oh my gosh, plan ahead, But even with me, it's like I told you I'm moving. I will put on my to-do list, and I have for the last month, pack 1 box, just 1 box. And so it honestly will remove so much chaos from your life when you get good at planning. So I promise, do this for a month. It is a game changer. You guys will love me. You can send me Diet Coke and chocolate. I will give you my new address, but it will like change your life. Like it really is. It really is, because, and the other thing is like, then when we get up in the morning, that's when our mind is the sharpest, and we get up and we look at our planner and we go right to work. And I'm telling you, we all have a little ADHD going on. Like nobody can deny it, because we're like overstimulated, right? Right. I look at my planner probably 30 to 40 times a day because I get distracted. I'm like, hey, what was I doing? And just to have that, like, oh yeah, okay, refocus. So I'm telling you, get in the habit of doing it. It will change your life.
I put in our planner this year, I actually, for checking off their goals, they've got their habit, goal, something, reward. I don't have it right here. I have a stack of planners right here. Anyway, but it's redundant. Honestly, it's redundant. They're like, why do we need to cross these all off? And I said, because I want you to build the habit of going back to your planner, going back and looking at it, going back. So if it's redundant to cross it off, you're building a habit of doing it. So maybe next year I don't have to have all 4 of those to check off. Oh, hit my funny bone.
I know. You're like rubbing it like crazy, like, ow.
Okay. What's number 2?
Okay. Number 2, and this is kind of like a mindset thing, is get good at failing. Like really get good at failing. And I do this presentation. It's usually to schools, but I do this presentation where I talk about how much I failed at a young age. I tried out for this team. I was a late bloomer, didn't make it. And now I'm like, gosh, I am really good at failing. And I think that when you can understand that everybody fails, and you embrace the failure. I also think with time and confidence, you start to care less what people think, but get good at failure. And there's a really good book that I read a while ago. I can't remember who the author was, but it's called Go for the No. And it talks about that we kind of stop. We're trying to get a yes. So then we ask or we try something, we get a yes. And then we're like, okay, I'm done. And we don't keep going. But if we go for the no and turn it into a game, like it helps us get good at failing. And it's like anything, the more we do, the easier it becomes for us and the better we become at it. And I remember just, even when I pivoted from photography to business coach, and I was getting all these consultations, and I read that book and I said, okay, I'm going for the no. And so I kind of stepped back and said, okay, like it's, I think, okay, for every 9 no's, I get a yes. So then anytime I got a no or a no response or whatever, I'm like, sweet, okay, I'm like 7 away from getting a yes. And I turned it into like a mental game where I'm like, okay, like the more rejection I get, then I'm getting closer to the yes. And, I even think of, I had this one client and she wasn't quite there, had a hard time failing. And we were looking, she wanted to get into wholesale. She was selling a product, jewelry. And she got so frustrated because she would email, like a handful of wholesalers or boutiques and wouldn't get any response. And I just am like, oh my gosh, let me pull up my spreadsheet of like, one of my things to do is to try to get on podcasts or speaking engagements. I'm like, look at all of these no's. Look how many no's I have. And I said, and you can look at the no's and they way, way, way outweigh the yeses. And so we have to just be able to embrace that and not let it deter us from keep pushing through, and just know that it's part of how you get to where you want to get. You have to fail to succeed. And, it's a numbers game, and be okay with failure and embrace it. So
I love how you explain that. I love how you explain that, because for my women, we read a book called, and now look at you, you're good and throughout but it was basically about fear, right? It was this snowboarding, this woman who was a snowboarder, and it was all about fear. Was she a skier? Anyway, good job, Gina. Know it. Anyway, we read it, and it was like my whole mantra is, what's the worst that can happen, right? Mm-hmm. What's the worst that can happen? You go try something new. What's the worst that can happen? Like you get a little embarrassed. Someone looks at you weird, like whatever. Keep doing it. Keep doing it, right? Imagine you're on a road, you're on I-15 and you miss your exit. Well, guess what? There's going to be another exit.
Yeah.
It's like, absolutely. It's not a big deal. You're on a road. It's not the right road. What do? You turn around.
Yeah.
You try a different road. It's hard for people to think that way that haven't built that foundation of, I definitely think, I agree with you how you said, I'll go back to you saying it's a confidence. It's a mm-hmm. skill that you've learned to be okay with a no, be okay with embarrassment, be okay with you get to the point where you just really, we all care a little bit what people think, but you get to the point where you just really don't. Yeah. And that is, I think for me, that's where I have achieved success in that part of my life, is that I can just like, blah, do my thing. And mm-hmm. I might get some weird looks or whatever. And that does help me push forward in different aspects of my life. But it's hard teaching this concept to women who are not that way. And it's like, mm-hmm. we got to flex that muscle. We got to work it. You don't just sit at a piano and become a concert pianist. You start with chopsticks. Yeah,
for sure. Well, and I think, and then this kind of leads into like the third one, which is, it's really like mindset. I tease my son. I have an 18-year-old son, and he's super into like wearing nice clothes and going to the gym. And I'm constantly saying, buddy, you got to work on your inside as much as you work on your outside, because it doesn't matter how good you look. If you're a sucky human being, like no girl or nobody's going to be interested in you, And so I think that, it's interesting. I don't know if I mentioned this. I got certified as a life coach. This was a few years ago, and I've always been a very like motivated person. I'm pretty motivated and disciplined. And people do not know what they do not know. And you don't know what you are missing. And so getting certified and learning these tools, it like changed my life. And it changed my business, the way that I looked at business too. And I remember a real estate agent had hired me, and I kind of said, this is kind of my program. I work on mindset a little bit. And she's like, I don't need mindset. I am like super, what did she say? I'm super motivated. And I said, oh, no. It's not the same thing. Motivation and mindset are two completely different things. And so working on your mindset and getting to a good place, because what happens is, we have these thoughts and they either propel us forward to take action or they hold us back. And if we want a result, we have to take action. And so getting good on your mindset, and a couple things that, a couple things that I see women deal with is the confidence, motherhood, and being a woman and all those things. But I'm going to explain, here's the difference between confidence and self-confidence, because a lot of times we have confidence, but we don't have self-confidence. So confidence is something that you do over and over again, and it's kind of more reflective of your past. So I'll give you, I'm a photographer. I was a photographer, and I took lots and lots and lots of pictures, and my clients loved me, and they would spend a butt ton of money. And I was featured in magazines, and I was on Good Morning America. I was in Wall Street Journal. So when it comes to confidence, I am very confident because I've had this past that reflected that showed my successes, right?
Yeah, you have the proof.
So I have the proof, and it comes from your past. It comes from doing it. Self-confidence is doing something regardless of the outcome. Do you have the self-confidence to reach out and ask somebody if you can be on their podcast, even though they might say no? Do you have the self-confidence to put something out there knowing that people might not buy it? Or do you have the self-confidence to put something vulnerable out there regardless of how people respond to it? Do you have that self-confidence? So that's where we have to understand both of them. If you want confidence, you have to have the self-confidence, because you have to be okay to do something regardless of if you fail or not. And so, you can be a very confident person, but you don't have self-confidence. I have a friend that, she's very confident, she's gorgeous, but she does not like to put herself out there. She doesn't want to be rejected. She doesn't want people to think one way or another, about her. And it really has held her back, because she's super talented. She is has all these amazing talents, but she cares so much what people think. She cares so much about what the outcome will be that she's missing out on so many opportunities. And so we have to understand that. That is the first part of that. The second part is comparison is the thief of joy. Mm-hmm. Do not compare your beginning to somebody else's middle. Understand that everything does not appear to be what it looks like. And Gina and I we were kind of chatting about this before, where we see all these big wig people who are super successful, and they're talking about how successful they are and all the money they're making. And they are. And I'm not to say that they're not, but what we don't see is that it took them 15 years to get there, or 10 years of failure, or that they're paying $300,000 a month in ads to get this growth. We don't always see the whole picture. And so keep that in mind and stay in your own lane and shut out all the noise and set boundaries for yourself. And if somebody, even if it is your sister, even if it is your best friend, if they hinder you in any way, then set a boundary where you're not going to look at their Instagram, or you're not going to talk to them about business, but get in a place where you are surrounded by people who lift you and encourage you and support you. Rising tides lifts all ships. Yes.
Yes. So, oh my gosh, so good. It's so true. Everybody thinks that just because they're seeing it on Instagram, on social media, that it is the truth. It is yes, let's all agree that everything we see on social media is real.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We know it's not. In our logical brains, you could look at something and be like, I know that's probably not the true story. They don't see that we're missing flights. They don't see that we're sleeping on airport floors. They don't see that when we arrived in Tahiti, we didn't have a place to stay, so we had to sleep on the ground in an outdoor. We were scared to death for our kids that they were going to get malaria from the mosquitoes, with this huge flashing billboard above us going to sleep saying, dengue fever. And we're like,
We're like, oh no. Yeah. Yeah.
you know,
for sure.
it's not, and I would love to show that. I would love to. I'm the type of person that's hilarious to me, but I can't always show that. I can't always. So yes, it happens to be that my phone comes out and I do film highlight reels because that's what I'm like, oh, this is a memory I want.
Yeah.
This is a memory that I want to remember. And that's why it gets posted. That's why, because it's in my phone.
Yeah.
I should start thinking to myself, this is hilarious. This is scary. I'm going to film this.
Well, I also think with that being said too is like being grateful. You know what I mean? Like focusing on the positive, you know, because I don't know, I guess for myself, I'm like super self-conscious, like even when I'm struggling or something, that I'm like, okay, I need to share my negativity amongst my friends. I don't want just to put it all on one friend because like we have our own stuff, like, you know, and so it's okay to be vulnerable, but like people want to see, I personally like to see the highlight. I like people to be real, but I also I enjoy, like, look, there's always a silver lining. There's always something good, you know, like I was talking to my son the other day on the phone. He was being super negative. And I said to him, I said, hon, you got to stop focusing on all your trials and start paying attention to your blessings. And I said, I'll give you an example. I'm running. It's Houston. It is humid AF here. Like it is so freaking humid. I'm dripping. But it's also like, wow, I'm so blessed that I can run. I'm so blessed that like, this is beautiful. Like I get to run in this beautiful place, you know? And so I think it's a law of attraction too. So I think be real to a certain degree, but like also like focus on the good things that are happening. You know what I mean? And be a realist and understand that. I think as women, we need to understand that what we see on Instagram or what we see on social media is the highlight reel. And that's okay. And if it inspires us, keep watching. If it doesn't, peace out. So
be aware of what it's making you feel. That's the first step to that too, is like, okay, swipe, you're stuck in this. First of all, put your damn phone down, go play with your kids. No, just kidding. We all need a minute to just play. But anyway, I've had this happen to me. Actually, it was before we had started traveling the way we long term, you know, and I would find this account and she is my friend. She is a sweetheart. Like I do not feel any ill will to her at all. But for some reason, whenever I would swipe to her account, it would just kind of irritate, make me feel bad. You know what I mean? Like it was internally a comparison. Like I would think, and I even asked her one time, I'm like, how did you ever travel to that many countries? And she's like, I started before you.
Yeah.
Duh. Of course she did. You know, obviously, like I started before someone else. Someone else is going to be looking at mine now saying the same thing. And I'm going to be saying, I started before you, right? Or I had the opportunity to not have to schedule between schools or work or whatever, right? It's a different story. My story is not your story. Her story is not my story. So, and I did. I stopped following her, not because I don't like her, but for some reason, some part of me, I'm not even going to call it a bad part of me, it's some part of me, was uncomfortable when I saw her stuff. And I didn't like it. So I stopped following her. And actually I've since followed her again, but and what does that say about me? That I'm human, I'm learning, I'm growing, I'm still all the things, right? But it's true. It absolutely, you have to identify those feelings in you and it's okay. There's no shame. There's no blame. She's not a bad person. I'm not a bad person, but I don't need to feel that way because of something I see. So I'm not going to follow it. I don't want people following me that feel bad.
Oh, same.
Stop following me.
I think it's like an awareness. And sometimes like when I have those feelings and it's somebody that I know, I recognize like it's probably my problem and not theirs.
Right.
You know, it 100%. Is. It 100% is my problem, but it's okay to set boundaries for myself and work through it.
Right.
But it has nothing to do with them. It's me. And I think, and I feel like that's the mindset tools have helped me. It's given me so much awareness on my mind and how it works. And this is why I feel this way. And this is why I do these things. And just knowing that. So I think that in a nutshell is like my 3 for a mom, because I think aside from the business stuff, a lot of it is getting to a place of just giving yourself grace and giving yourself, you know, give yourself a break. Like, we're human. This is a journey. We're evolving. Try, I think it's good. Evolve, become the best that you can be, but understand that it's going to suck before it gets good. And that's okay. But we're just a work in progress over perfection all day, every day. So.
That was beautiful.
Oh, well, thank you.
I'm just sitting here thinking about, and I shouldn't, but I have to, you podcast. And I'm like, I think that's a wrap. I think that was beautiful. That was a wonderful podcast. I thought went way better than what I even had in my head.
Oh, but girl, did you not have high expectations for me?
I never had.
I'm a good time.
Not even you of myself. I think that's my own limiting beliefs. I'm still getting comfortable and finding my place in this world, in this space, and so meeting new people. I'm so good. Like you, I mean, we're like the same person. We're like, hey, la, la, la.
Yeah.
And I'm that way, but I just love conversation.
Me too.
And I think I put a lot of pressure on myself for, I hope, like I told you before, if one person gets something out of what I said, what we said, what we talked about that made them go, oh, I feel better today for that one little tidbit.
Yeah.
Then
score. And honestly, if I'm being honest, as we were podcasting, I was like, she's really, really good at this. Like, I need to be more like Gina in my conversations. So I was just like, sweet. I was taking a note out of your book, girl, where I was just like, she is really good at this. I need to push a little bit more. Like, you know what I mean? So you're a really good interviewer. So
I asked a really strenuous, strained question to one of my guests the other day. And I'm wondering, I'm going to go back and hear it. And I'm wondering if it's obvious because I was trying to be delicate. Yeah. But I just wanted to ask because I'm like you. I have no boundaries. Like
It's an open
good
book.
Luck. Come on, come at me. Like, good luck.
Yeah.
I'm an open book. And so I was like, I don't really know this person, but I really want to know the answer to this. And so I was just kind of like tiptoeing around it. And it made me sound like a horrible interviewer because I was like, I don't want to ask this, but normally in everyday life, I'd just be like, so do you think your divorce is because of you wanted to have high aspirations of being a businesswoman? Like I just wanted to say it. Like, but anyway, so thank you. I will take that. I appreciate that. I really appreciate that. But what I mean is you have so much more that I want to dive into, but I don't want it to feel rushed and I don't want it to feel
we need to do part
like
2.
an afterthought. And I really, really hope that you will come and do part 2.
Yes, for sure. I would love to.
I don't know what country I'll be in.
I know. Call me from a cool country. Call me from a cool country.
You can pick. I'll tell you which ones you pick. Just kidding.
Okay. I'm like these are options.
These are your options. No.
Or maybe I'll just come out. You give me your outline and maybe I'm like, oh, I'm going to come to one of these countries and let's do a podcast together.
Fun.
Okay. I need to see her. I need to see her. You have to send me your schedule.
Oh my gosh. That would be so
maybe
fun.
I'll bring Jancy out. Me and Jancy will come out.
She's so cute. I was loving gobbling up all of her travel packing and stuff because I'm like, good for you. She totally did it right. I'm like, you're not a rookie. You don't look like a noob. Good job. Because I was telling her about how Venice has forbidden rolling luggage and flip-flops.
Yeah.
And she's like, really? And I'm like, oh my gosh, if you stay in Venice and hear the
totally. That was Santorini too, because it's all cobblestone. You can't.
It all just echoes in there. And I'm like, it is against the law. So listener, just it's against the law to go to Venice with rolly luggage and flip-flops. I was watching a girl on YouTube tell me how to dress in Europe, which I was laughing because I've already been a few times, spent plenty of time in Europe. But I'm like, she's all, do not wear athletic wear. If you wear your Lulu, you are such a noob. And I'm like, that's all I wear.
Yeah. Seriously.
I'm sorry, I'm packing a backpack. That's all I wear. So I was just laughing about it.
Minimalist. You got to be a minimalist.
Okay. Anyway, you are so fun. Yeah, I cannot wait for you to get here because even though I may not be here for a lot of it and, till next year, but I'm excited for you to be here so that we can get together in person.
For sure connect. Yeah.
Yes.
I'm actually doing some work it's not Dixie anymore. What is the college there?
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. I don't even know what they call it either. What is it? Something tech. Dixie Tech. It's just Dixie Tech.
No, it's not Dixie because Dixie.
Oh, yeah. They had to get rid of the Dixie.
Is it Utah Tech? What is it?
Maybe. Yeah.
Something
that sounds
like that.
Right.
Anyways, I'm actually doing some stuff with the women's softball team at Dixie, like entrepreneur stuff.
Very cool.
Yeah.
That is very cool. I'm excited for you. Well, before I let you go, and I will obviously put this in the show notes, but where is the best place for my listeners to find you? Is it just your Instagram?
Yeah. So my main platform is Brittni.Schroeder. That's where I spend a majority of my time, but I'm literally everywhere. My website's BrittniSchroeder.com. I have a Facebook group, Redefine Your Biz. And then I have my podcast, Redefine Your Business Podcast. So that is my nonprofit is showcompassion.org. And I'm not sure when this is going to air, but I can send you the info on I'm doing a training on how to grow your email list too. So I can send that over
I already put down the note for Mandy to be in that.
You did? Awesome.
I'm like, get Mandy in this.
Get Mandy in this training. I'll send it over to you.
That's actually what we've been really focusing on right now is growing my email list because I actually, yay for me, have a very high open rate.
Yeah.
So awesome. I'm really excited about that, but I'm actually changing and I'll talk about it again. I just talked about it because I came up with this concept as now since my worlds are colliding, instead of it just being a newsletter kind of, because I have my Friday episode, which is my To the Core, which is kind of just like me talking about this, that, the other, whatever, my perspective on things, right? So that's kind of essentially my Monday newsletter. That's what it is thoughts on self-confidence, thoughts on I actually had one that was confidence versus self-confidence. And so that's my newsletter. Well, now I am changing it. So it's going to be #MomsWhoCrushMondays. That will be my newsletter. Awesome. So it's going to have not only the amazing revitalized womanhood stuff, mindset, habits, that kind of great stuff, but it's also going to have like travel hacks, mom hacks, like drop your mom hack here, drop your favorite travel hack here, drop your,
This is what I always say. I always say, give them 80% what they want and 20% what they need. And they want value. They want information. They want to connect. The 20% is where you sell to them, where you're like, hey, this is what you need. Is this to help you? So you're writing this down,
ladies,
taking notes, girl.
Yes. Oh, yeah, 2 pages already. I have 2 pages. So ladies, revitalizewomanhood.com, go subscribe, and Brittni Schroeder, go subscribe. Hit these newsletters. Yeah. All right, awesome. Girl. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for joining me.
Have a good one.
Thank you.
Okay.